The National Action Network will hold a rally for justice today in Ferguson, Missouri. It begins in just a little more than 2 hours, and the family of Michael Brown will attend. Of course, a police officer shot and killed their unarmed 18-year-old last Saturday afternoon. Well, the events that we have seen over the past week in Ferguson, Missouri have sparked a national dialogue about race relations in this country. Questions about that have risen with police harassment and the double standard that many African Americans say they face when it comes to law enforcement and the judicial system in this country. But what can be done about it? Joining me now, a pastor of the local St. Louis church, Joe Stevens, and professor of political science at Hiram College, Jason Johnson. And with a welcome to you both, Pastor Joe, I'm going to begin with you here. What do you make of the events in Ferguson, and is what we're seeing here part of a larger problem?
What I make of the events in Ferguson are simple. What we see is not really what is known as Ferguson. I've spent my entire life in North County, and the people of Ferguson are a good people, and the events that have transpired bring to bear issues that have been deep-rooted in St. Louis, but are not necessarily the result of the people of Ferguson. And so that's kind of my take on what I see happening.
Okay. Jason, the NAACP president had this to say this morning about the investigation into Michael Brown's death. Let's take a listen to that.
But I believe it's critically important for a prosecutor to be appointed. I think it's critically important for the Justice Department to remain active and engaged, because this county, this municipality, both have a long history of very troubled relationships with the community.
Do you agree with him? And if so, how do you begin to make a difference?
Well, there are multiple levels of investigations that need to happen in this city. We have seen police academy level incompetence on the part of the local police. Even last night, you had one group of police officers, state troopers, saying we didn't use tear gas, and then another group said we used tear gas later. So there need to be multiple investigations. And this doesn't just start with the mayor, who probably needs to be removed. It doesn't just start with the chief of police. It doesn't just go to the governor. It goes all the way up to the president of the United States. Barack Obama needs to evaluate Program 1033 and perhaps suggest that local police departments that have a history of racial profiling or police brutality can't get access to free military weapons anymore if they've shown themselves to be irresponsible with the equipment they already have.
Well, you think, Jason, under no circumstances whatsoever, because we have heard the former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Carrick say that there are situations when it's needed. I've talked with a former ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jim Cavanaugh, who's been on air and says, look, there are times when you need to have these kinds of SWAT cars and the really high-powered stuff, because you may be facing something given how people have access to guns and the like.
Right, but none of those things are what's going on right now, and that's the problem. I think that the president should only suspend those police departments or pass an executive order to suspend those police departments who have shown themselves to be irresponsible. Look, you may need stun guns and tear gas and ATFs and tanks if you're in St. Louis proper, if you're in Chicago, if you're in a major metropolitan area, but not in Ferguson. And clearly they've demonstrated that when they had these toys, they went way overboard, overprotecting, being unnecessarily aggressive, and it didn't help solve the problems on the ground. And I don't think they've proven themselves to be responsible with their military-grade equipment.
Pastor Joe, what do you think needs to be done right now in Ferguson to help this community heal?
The thing that I think needs to happen in Ferguson to improve the community is for the community to step up and begin helping each other out. One of the things that we've attempted to do is service projects and to begin empowering the people of the surrounding communities, because St. Louis is one big city with surrounding communities, to be able to be a voice for good in the community. And so organizing things like cleaning up the street, organizing things like bringing food to those in need. I think a grassroots movement is what's needed to better hold ourselves accountable, as well as bring up morale and see things change.
Interesting, yeah. Georgia Representative John Lewis says today it's Ferguson, tomorrow it's elsewhere. What needs to change in this country for these types of events to stop happening? Jason, what do you think?
Well, we need to have a full-scale evaluation of police procedures and police training in this country. What happened in Ferguson, the reason that we actually know about this is because of social media. I mean, to be perfectly honest, these kinds of abuses happen all the time. People are shot, and we end up not finding out about it. So there needs to be a discussion at the DOJ level. How are officers being trained? How can we evaluate that training? And also, national parties, the Republican Party and Democratic Party, I know this may not be as sexy, they need to get in there and encourage people to vote. They need to go in there and tell people that having a 12% turnout in the last several mayoral elections isn't good enough.
And make this an important conversation. Joe Stevens and Jason Johnson, gentlemen, thanks so much.